Good evening, everyone, and thank you for listening to the Reality Fan Forum podcast on Survivor Cagayan. Tonight with me we have the beautiful Alicia Garza.
Hey, y'all.
The intelligent Stephen Lehman.
Oh, thank you, Patrick.
Jack.
Hey there.
And the wonderful Alex Cash.
Woo woo!
So tonight's episode, we start off, we have Cliff leaving, and we have Jeff Probst coming into the mix somehow. Because Lindsay is pissed off.
Blue shirt.
Let's go back to Lindsay and Trish fighting, and whose side do you take, Stephen?
They both came off very bad in my opinion, but gun to the head, choosing one, Lindsay.
Okay, any reasons?
I just thought Trish sort of knew that Lindsay wasn't all that mature, and I think on top of that, Trish sort of, at least to me, tried to come out as taking this morally high, holier-than-thou approach, and it just sort of didn't really gel right with me.
Alicia, did Lindsay have the justification to call Trish, be like annoyed by her laugh, her teeth, and kind of bring it personal?
I think she was coming off the shock of a blindside and losing her very closest ally with absolutely no indication that was going to happen. And so obviously she's kind of in one of those, like, I've hit rock bottom, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh. And, to have, it probably didn't matter what Trish was going to say or said to her. Anyone that, did that to her at that point in time was probably going to be on her shit list and get some sort of lashing out. And it just happened to be Trish.
Well, it's been brewing for a while, though.
It has been brewing. I just think, with her in that frame of mind, no one really should have been talking to her. They should have just let her, absorb the loss of Cliff.
So you think that, Trish shouldn't have been there to clear the air or anything, just shut the fuck up?
Yeah, I think she pushed Lindsay over the edge. Not saying that she wouldn't have been pushed to the edge at another time. I just think that, she was especially, sensitive and volatile at that moment.
Alex, what would you have done different if you were Trish or Lindsay in each situation?
I think that if it's a situation like that, there's going to be some tension, and you let people handle the tension how they want to. So I would hang back if I were either party, and if the other party wanted to talk, I would talk. If they didn't want to talk, I would shut the fuck up.
That's how I think, too. Jack, now we get to Lindsay. Her justification for quitting, do you think it was sound?
No.
Do you think she was telling the truth about, I'm scared what I'm going to do? Or was she like, I'm done with this game, I'm on the bottom, I'm cold, I'm wet, I'm hungry? What was it?
I think it was just a combination of she lost her number one ally in Cliff. She hates Trish, doesn't want to deal with her. She just got chewed out. She's cold, she's hungry, she's tired. And then all in all, she's like, fuck this.
She still has Wu, though. I mean, he was on her side.
I mean, she also did say, I don't want my child to see, her mother, acting out this way. So I think she was probably trying to save herself from future, notoriety and infamy and embarrassment by freaking out. I give her a teensy tiny bit of credit for not pulling a Brandon Hance or Asia Tia now, too, but it's not a lot of credit.
Why can't these people contain their emotions, Stephen?
I think because it is such a high-stress situation, and like it's been said, Lindsay did lose her closest ally without really any indication, and on top of that, there was, a feud already between Trish and Lindsay, and with Trish aggravating it, and Lindsay as well, it just didn't, it was a recipe for a mess.
Yeah. Let's just go around the horn. Yay or nay, team Trish or team Lindsay? Start with you, Alicia.
Team neither.
Jack.
Slightly more Team Trish because she saved my boy LJ at the last
time.
God. So, gotta give her a tiny little bit of props.
Last episode does not count. We're talking about this incident.
Okay, then Team neither.
Okay, Jack.
I will also have to be Team neither because I do not support quitters, which Lindsay did, but I also don't support Trish and her just like going out and like bashing Lindsay for like no reason other than to rub it in.
Did
Like,
she
they're
really
just
bash Lindsay as much as Lindsay lashed out at her personally?
I mean, they're both on the wrong, but
Yeah,
they just both could have just like shut up and walked away.
very true. Alex.
I would say that in their personal feud, nobody quite wins. But just because we didn't see Lindsay after she left, whereas after Lindsay left, Trish was like all smiles and practically high-fiving everybody else after Jeff announced that Lindsay quit
She saw it as a
at the
victory.
challenge. So she looked way too happy about that. So I gotta go Team Lindsay if I have to pick.
Actually, now that you've said that, I'm changing my mind and going Team Trish, because that's exactly how pumped up I would be if my fucking enemy was quitting and like giving me an even better advantage in the game because I pushed her to the point. So never mind.
She took
Team
it as a
Trish,
victory, and you know who else did was Spencer. He's like, "Hey, they're down 2 numbers, and I didn't have to do anything about it."
Yeah. They killed two birds.
Yeah, that's the right attitude.
Mhm.
So
Right.
Steven,
Props.
last person, Steven.
Team neither, because I don't support quitters, but I don't support Trish. But gun to the head in that personal feud, Team Lindsay.
Okay, so it sounds like it's a lose-lose situation for both. Me personally, I think that a lot of the reasons were kind of a cop-out on Lindsay's part for like what she could do. Because you never know what she's going to do. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But yeah, but going back to the reward challenge and Spencer saying, hey, that's a win-win for both of us. See, which tribe was it? I can't remember their tribe names.
Wait.
They're all brown
Solana
beauties.
and
for me.
Apari.
Orange is Apari, and purple is Solana.
Right, and I...
Wait, y'all, okay, sorry, going back to the quitting thing one more time.
Okay.
Do we think that's why they show Lindsay, like, losing a toenail, and they don't really show her in any sort of positive light whatsoever?
Are we going
because
back
their,
to...
like, production is scorned by her quitting?
Are we going back to
No.
Blood vs. Water with the toenails? is that
No,
gonna
they
be
show Lindsay with, like, the toenail that got pulled off.
Oh, is that going to be a reoccurring theme in Survivor now?
I guess, yeah.
I guess.
The telltale toenail.
I thought it was just athlete's foot the other time.
No, Katie's toenails were disgusting.
Ugh.
Poor girl. She needs some freaking fungus cream or
Mani-pedis.
something. I don't know.
One other thing about the quit. I'm noticing, I'm not sure how much of a parallel, but I'm noticing a little bit of a parallel possibly with Kathy Sleckman, who was talking idly about chopping her own thumb off.
Crazy Kathy.
Oh, yeah, she couldn't feel her family.
Yeah, so similar family issues and emotional issues and, so I think there might be a little bit of precedent for something like this, but not right after a blindside.
But I also think that Probst was a lot more sympathetic with that.
He was sympathetic with both of them, I think. Because he kind of said this is, a new precedent. No one's ever quit for this reason. And then Kathy, he was kind of like, this woman's clearly losing her mind. So, I mean, usually he's kind of a dick about it. Like, oh, well, millions of people want to play this game and you're just going to dick out like that. But
Yeah.
it was more sympathetic than usual. But we got to move on to that, to the challenge, which is an interesting one. What season was it that...
Philippines.
Yeah, who was it that threw it up in the air and then knocked up other person?
Scoopin'.
Max Scoopin.
Yeah, that was a brilliant move. I was expecting more of that going on.
Mm-hmm.
There was a fair amount of that.
Yeah, I think Scoopin's the pioneer, I would say.
Yeah, thinking outside the box mentality when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And I was... The only thing that stood out to me was that Wu, the Ninja Master or whatever, was bested by Spencer. What was it, both times?
The first
No,
time.
just once.
Just one. Oh, yeah, the second time
He
got
won
pretty
it for
good.
Yeah, he ended up winning it for Solana.
Yeah, and so their prize, they get to go and steal 2 things from the other camp.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the interesting thing. They chose Tony and Wu, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they knew the camp. And when they get there, they make some sneaky moves. Stephen, what do you think about what they took?
I'm sorry, what's that? You cut out for a sec, Patrick.
Oh, I'm sorry. They went over there and made some sneaky moves because Tony is a shady motherfucker, right?
Yes.
But as far as what they took, what would you have taken from them?
I mean, it's hard for me to say since I wasn't, there, but I think given the choice of what all, options there were, I'd say I'd probably take the tarp because it would, I don't like to necessarily kick someone while they're down, but if it'll bolster my own advantage, then I'd say taking the tarp would probably have been the better decision. But
okay, would you have rather taken more of their comfort or more of their survival? What's more important?
I mean, in order to have comfort, you have to survive first. So I think it's sort of a hierarchy where, in order to have something like comfort, you need the basics. So I think survival would be more important, personally.
Alicia, are you back with us?
Am I back with y'all?
Yeah, can you hear me fine?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. What's more important to you? What would you not want to see taken away? The tarp, the comfort, or the fishing items?
I think just because it was apparently like one of the worst, rainiest, stormiest seasons that that Survivor has ever seen, I think in that situation the tarp would have like completely debilitated me and like depressed me. But that's why if I had been Solana rating, I would have taken that fucking tarp away and crushed their souls.
Well, if you don't have the tarp, you can't keep your comfort things like the whatever pillows or whatever they had dry, and you don't want to see wet pillows and stuff.
Yeah.
So, Alex, did they make the right move?
Well, I think that taking the inessential stuff is good from a social standpoint, where you want to be nice, but I think that the way I see it is that if you have yet to be swapped, then you want to take the inessential stuff because you might get swapped to the camp that you just stole all the good stuff from. But if there's already been a swap, hit them where it counts.
That's good thinking. I didn't think about it that way, if you think you're not going to go back to that camp. But, in Pearl Island, Sandra fucking tore their whole thing down.
Yes.
Just for the tarp.
That was beautiful.
And she still won that season.
The girl.
But then we
she stole the win from everyone's favorites, and I love her.
We get down to the idol clue. And I guess their plan was to make a target out of Jeremiah. And I think it was kind of inadvertent that they thought that Jeremiah was with them. Jack, what is your take on that? Did they want them to believe Jeremiah was with them, or did they just want them to want to vote him out because of the idol clue?
I think it was they wanted to get Jeremiah voted out because you saw that. I think when they got back to the Solana camp, Tony's like, "Oh, we did this to Jeremiah to give him the clue and painted this huge illuminated target on his back, and everyone's giving everyone high fives and stuff." So I think it was Tony's idea to make Jeremiah more of a target.
Was it a good move?
I think it was just extremely unnecessary, and then Tony's overplaying because it shows his entire tribe that he's trying to play the game really hard and could become troublesome. If it actually gets down to the final five, they might not want to take Tony because he's playing this game so hard.
It's kind of been a theme this season with Tony doing all this unnecessary lying, and he finally comes out and admits it to his own tribe. Says, "Yeah, I've been lying about this and this and that. So because I'm telling you I'm lying, then that you can trust me." And LJ's the only, he gets that confession rolling his eyes basically. But how stupid is that, Alicia?
It's pretty stupid to just nonchalantly throw out to this tribe, "Oh yeah, I was lying about this, I was lying about that. Oh yeah, I'm a police officer." The way that you should play Survivor is holding all of your cards very close and revealing them slowly at the time that it most benefits you.
To gain trust.
Because once that information is out there, it's never coming back. It's never going to be a secret again, and it's going to be, processed and thought about and shared. So you don't want to give out too much and then have nothing else to work with.
I think Tony might be trying to be like a Russell Hantz or something and trying to make a name for himself in Survivor rather than win, is my opinion. Stephen?
I think he's just all over the place. I think he just wants to, like what you said, as many kind of crazy new things.
What's his endgame here?
As he
Stephen,
can.
Explain, enlighten us. What's his endgame? Is he trying to make a name for himself, or is he trying to win $1 million?
I actually can't tell with Tony, and that's what bothers me the most about him, is that I can't tell whether he's trying to be a camera whore, or he's trying to do it to win, or he's trying to get himself an invite back. And I think that's what frustrates me the most about Tony, is that I can't really tell why he's doing what he's doing.
And he's survived this long.
He feels like he needs to do all this stuff so that he can win. It's like he thinks you can't make a good case at Final Tribal unless you're doing all this random shit all the time to, like, mix up the game and keep people off balance and kind of, like, uncomfortable.
That's kind of how
this game respects big moves.
Yeah, that's a good point, is he's trying to... I guess a lot of people want to build a resume to bring to the Final Tribal Council, but with all these ridiculous antics, Alex, is he going to make it there?
Yeah.
I mean...
With all the ridiculous antics he's been doing is to build his resume, is he going to make it to the Final Tribal Council, Alex?
I don't think he is. I think that the way he's been doing things, he is announcing to everybody, "Hey, I'm a target. Look at me. I might as well work at Target. I am such a target. Look at me." He's done that. He did that several times this episode. He did the wrong-headed reveal of his secrets, which you can get people to trust you by revealing that you previously were lying to them, but you have to not look like a shyster while doing it. So there's that. There's the top 5 thing.
Let's talk
there's
about
just
top
so
5.
much of it.
Let's talk about top 5, because that must have been one of I can't find anything to compare it to. Can any of y'all?
I mean, hypothetically, maybe.
Like Tina saying, make
You're fifth.
Monica
the
place.
5th at the 5.
I mean,
What season was it where they had friendship bracelets? I think it was Australian Outback where...
Yeah, it was Australia, where Jerry...
had friendship bracelets.
Yeah. And also, Exile Island, Kasaya basically, as Lamina rows to their beach, Kasaya circles up in a huddle and says, "Alright guys, let's make sure we can get rid of him and we're top 6. I don't know, it sort of gave me that sort of vibe.
The thing I don't understand, and Spencer pointed out, is maybe Tony, he might be a cop, but he's not a mathematician. Is that he's
No, he's not.
The other tribe, they lost immunity, they have 7, they're down to 6, and a merge is very likely.
Right.
So I don't, maybe the whole top 5 thing helped solidify his group of 5 together, but they're shit without numbers. Jack, why did he do it? Was it out of excitement?
I think he was just in the moment, and Tony, as we all know, is not one to make smart decisions, so he wasn't thinking. He was just super excited they won the challenge, and he's like, "Yeah, guys, we're 5 strong, 5 to the end, top 5." I don't think he actually realized what he did and the repercussions it may have.
Did he say final 5 when he was yelling? Because all I heard him say was top 5, top 5.
He said top 5, but that kind of...
And so that's
sort of what it means by that.
I took that as, we're clearly the top 5 of, our tribe because, we got rid of the 2 riffraff in one fell swoop, and now
they were top 5.
The best 5 that there was.
They were top 5 in their tribe before they went into the challenge.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
but that's where I thought he was coming from with that.
Yeah, they were already top 5, so it really just implies, final 5 in the game. Which, I don't know. I think him and his lying and admitting it and everything. Because once you lose credibility in this game and you do this lying, then people aren't going to trust you. And I cannot wait to see the day when Tony finally is busted on something.
Oh, that'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But enough about Tony. That tribe didn't even go to tribal.
No.
Let's go. The other tribal council was fairly boring, I think. If anyone has any thoughts about the scrambling going on, it was mainly the brains saying, hey, we're in control.
And also, like, a lot of Sarah being scorned the whole time about
Yeah, Sarah was really bitter. Like, oh God, how dare Tony not, mention me in that top 5? Like, what was he gonna say? Top 5! Oh, hey Sarah, you're with us, top 6, woo! Like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
don't give it off tonight! Like,
I don't know, I just thought that was really silly of Sarah to obsess over that. I mean, I can understand why she would, but like, I don't know, to dwell on it for as long as she did.
I think it would have been smart for her to, like, obsess over it and make that big of a deal out of it if she knew that, like, she was in with Tony and, like, she knew she was flipping to, like, keep a target off her back, but she wasn't. She just,
Well, except for next week she might.
Oh.
Yeah.
Next,
Who knows?
excuse me. Next week will be interesting, but we'll get to that. The way I saw it, though, is that the brains are clearly united, and the beauty are clearly fractured. Sarah is somewhere off. She's going to do whatever the brains are going to do. So it is ultimately between Jeremiah and Alexis. And so, what were the arguments of getting rid of Alexis? I'm going to go to Stephen.
Alexis mentioned in the previous episode that she was BFFs with Jeffra. And on top of that, she was very, she couldn't keep her mouth shut. And then she sort of seemed like she was trying to throw Jeremiah under the bus a little too much. So I think all of those things, adding up really didn't help Alexis's case, especially if they were worried about maybe a later merge. She wasn't that strong either, so.
Okay. Alicia, what were the points of getting rid of Jeremiah?
Oh, I was going to add to Alexis's point.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Spencer briefly talked about how he was noticing Alexis was a lot smarter than she had been letting on, and how that to him was sketchy. So I thought it was kind of like, get rid of this, like, very real kind of threat who has ties. It goes back to, like, we're brains, we don't want anyone else smart out there. Like, we just want it to be us. As well as they were kind of sketched out that Alexis, going back to, the Tribe Swap episode, Alexis was the very first one to go up to the brains and start spilling all the beans. They
all spilt the beans.
They all spilt the beans, but Alexis did it almost immediately without even really knowing the brains tribe that well. And so I think that was also setting off signals that, like, oh, hey, she's a blabbermouth. She'll go up to anyone and say anything.
Yeah.
So that is also not to be trusted.
Okay, well then we'll move on to Jack and ask what are the benefits of getting rid of Jeremiah?
Of getting rid of Jeremiah, there's that whole idle clue fiasco that, as like viewers, we can easily see that Jeremiah's telling the truth, but as you're on the island, it's very hard to distinguish that. And the fact that he's like a stronger guy, he's like probably going to be stronger than Alexis in challenges, and if he flips, that's someone we're going to have to like worry about getting out because he's not going to be on our side, and he could do well in these challenges come merge. So I think getting rid of Jeremiah would be like a longer term decision, but obviously they did not make that one.
Alex, is there anyone else that you think should have been a target?
Well, the two things that occur to me are, I don't think that the brains should have been targeted just because, like, they obviously didn't trust each other enough to do that, and if one of them tried to say, hey, there's 4 of us and 3 brains, then somebody else would have gone and blabbed, so that wouldn't have been a good move, but, I'm confused as to why, no, I'm not. Morgan, definitely was able. The reason she wasn't targeted was because she she said, and everybody probably agreed with her on this, that she was on the bottom and she had no reason to stick with the beauties in the first place. And Sarah was also probably happy to be along for the ride. I think those were the two best targets because they were the ones that still quite possibly had a connection to LJ and Jeffra, who were the clear people in power over on Solana.
That makes sense. I was kind of expecting them to vote out Jeremiah, just because he's the stronger physical threat, and this is about the time in the game that they get rid of those physical threats. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, along with the idol clue and seeing if they were tying with them, I would have questioned why. What's his name, Tony, was so confident in like top 5 or whatever, like thinking that they got it. They're down in the numbers. Unless they had someone on the other side, a.k.a. Jeremiah.
Although, now that I think about it, Tony does have that idol, and no one else knows that he has the idol.
There's 2 idols on that
and
side.
there's actually, there's the 2 idols in that 5, which can definitely be a game changer.
And just to clarify, who knows about those idols?
No one else besides...
No one. Both of those idols have been revealed to no one.
Now, here's something. Okay, so Alexis is gone. That's an uneventful boot. Sorry, Ty. You're out of the running. I don't know if we remembered this from the beginning of the season, but we have the Tyler Perry idol coming into play.
What?
Do you remember from the very beginning?
The TV Guide preview.
Yeah, the idol that is put in at Merge, where it can be revealed after the votes are read.
So it's basically the Panama and Cook Islands idol rehash.
It's the Yua Kwan idol.
What?
Yeah.
Yep, it's back.
Terry Knight's idol. Yeah.
Why is this being referred to as Tyler Perry?
Because Tyler Perry called up or texted Jeff Probst and said, "Hey, isn't that a cool idea?" Despite the fact that it already.
Hey, this idea has never been done before. You should totally do this, Jeff.
It's not like it almost ruined Survivor XL Island.
In other news, Ben was the first person to be ejected from a immunity challenge.
Attack zone.
Yeah, so with the upcoming episode and the merge, we've got LJ's idol, we've got Tony's idol, I don't know how close that relationship is. I mean, I guess they're all agreeing top 5 or whatever, but he's still got, somewhat of a relationship with Morgan as well.
LJ.
Well, and LJ is very wary of Tony too.
He said that.
Lies. Yeah. Right after he revealed all that, Tony was pulled aside in an awkward, Cochrane style confessional where he's hunched up in rocks and water, talking about his feelings.
But at the beginning of the season, I was so pissed off about this stupid idol, but now it makes it so unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once we find out who gets it, I think that person has a great shot of winning. But it could flip everything. So, Alicia, what's your thoughts on the Tyler Perry idol? What does it hold for the future of this season?
Is the Tyler Perry idol the idol where everyone... I'm sorry, I was zoned out during that time. I came back to Tyler Perry idol and I hadn't heard the explanation, even though I know I've actually heard the explanation before.
It's the idol revealed after the votes are read.
Oh, that's right. That's not doing it now, though.
It's at Merge, is when it comes in.
Oh! Holy shit! Okay.
Cheers.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm half of a drink in, and it was half filled with alcohol, so, sorry. I think it's gonna be really annoying, and it's gonna, drum up so much scorn, because all the people are gonna be, super jealous that person has it. I also think it will probably be flushed very early, because they're just gonna have to be fuck it, we're doing it, let's do it.
But that's if they tell someone about it, Jack, if you got that idol, would you use it as a strategy to tell people and say, hey, if you try to vote me out, I'm just going to use my idol, and I'm going to get out one of your allies? Or are you going to keep it secret if you're in a decent position, you know?
Oh yeah, keep it secret. Going back to the cards, keeping the cards close and keeping it secret.
Yeah, remember like 10 minutes ago? But yeah, Jack, what would you do with it? I mean, there's one strategy like you can say you have it like, hey, bitch, vote me out. I'll get out one of your best allies. Or you.
Yeah. Like, Alicia said, oh yeah, they'll just flush it. No one's ever just flushed that type of idol. Like, everyone is too scared to be like, hey, let's all vote for person A, but they have a super, like, god idol.
They can split
Plan
the votes.
voodoo. Plan voodoo.
Randomly choose who they want, and they, like, kill.
Yeah,
Also consider
Diamond idol.
Caramoan. Caramoan, where they had to bite the bullet because the three amigos had idols, and so
Well,
we gotta flush him. One of us is gonna have to go down, but
I'd
we
say-
gotta do it anyway.
I'd complain about that, but it took out Philip, so.
Badass.
That's kind of a different situation, though, because I think
Yeah.
back in Yo Kwan's season, they weren't, like, always splitting the votes like they do now. That's
No.
kind of a newer strategy, you know?
Yeah, well, actually, Cowboy, the eccentric Vietnamese man, came up with it in a dream. I actually watched that today. He said that some American Express lady said he needed 3 of this and 3 of that, and then he realized, hey, we can split the vote. 3-3, get rid of the idol.
Yeah, so you could always
That's insane.
you could always split the vote. I mean, if the numbers are there. It
Right.
depends on the situation. But I guess we can move on to who's going next week. Let's start with Alex. Remember,
Next-
this is Merge.
Yep, it's merge, and so you're ideally looking for someone to go home who is a physical threat and who is and if they're a strategic threat too, then by all means. So I think they're gonna campaign hard for Tony, and I think that Tony is not gonna see it coming because he is so full of his own brilliance, and since all of his allies have worked so far, and I think Tony is going home with an idol in his pocket.
Awesome. I'm so down for that. What about you, Jack? Excuse me.
I'm gonna guess Cass.
Why Cass?
I think because it all depends on which side Sarah picks, and I don't know. I just feel like for some reason Sarah is gonna be like re-mystified by Tony and like join him, even though like he's made it blatantly clear. And then they'll just vote out Cass.
All right, I'll go to Alicia.
I think it's going to be Jeremiah. I think every other player except maybe Wu has someone that will like pick them. Well, I guess and maybe Morgan will pick them and like vouch for them and not want to vote them out. Whereas Jeremiah doesn't really seem to have that support from any given person. And so I think if his name were to come up, no one was going to be like, like I really think we should keep him though. Over,
Going back to like what Alex said about the physical threat as well. So that makes Stephen. Stephen.
Oh, I'm here. Back. Sorry about that.
Who's your pick to go?
It depends on which side Sarah goes with. If Sarah goes with New Apari, I could see Tony or Wu going, and if she sides with New Solana, then I could see Jeremiah going.
Okay.
It all lies on Sarah, I think.
Okay, well, we've got a new segment that we're going to do at the end of the podcast, which one person each week will come up with the power rankings of who has the best shot of winning this game, and we'll spend 5 minutes, however long, debating why that list is the way it is or whatever. This is what I came up with right after the episode, so I kind of threw it together pretty quickly. But I have, drum roll, I have Cass as number 1, Spencer as number 2, Tosh as number 3, so all 3 brains at the top. LJ, Wu, Tony, Sarah, Jeffra, Jeremiah, Trish, and Morgan. Does anyone have any objections? What do you think?
Why do you have Cass as number 1?
Because A, she's my pick to win. B, I think, but not only that, I think she's probably the smarter, maybe the more likable, and could pull off a Final Tribal Council really well. Because I honestly think that the side with 6 people, their tribe, will probably get rid of, maybe they'll lose a few people on the way, but they're not going to lose the brains. So I could see a final 3 of Cass Spencer and Tosh getting to the end. And just going through, because they're a solid 3, and that's what it takes. Is you have to be solid with your alliance, and I see them as the most solid.
I would like to say that LJ needs to be much higher because he is a magical threat with a secret idol in his pocket and a brain for puzzles.
Is that an idol in his pocket, or is he just happy to see you?
No, I put LJ as number 4 because I think
he needs to be higher.
He's just below the brains, but at the top of everyone else, because I think everyone else in this game is an idiot.
I actually think you have, Patrick, you said you had Morgan on the bottom?
Yes.
See, I would put her higher only because of her association with the brains. But
I had Trish and Morgan switched. I had Trish last because I hate her, but Morgan she can't win a Final Tribal Council.
Oh no, she has no shot at that. But
yeah, and so I'm trying to think like that, you know.
Yeah,
I put Tony up there, Tony Wu, because Tony's got the idol, but he's playing a dangerous game.
Hashtag blindside.
Yeah, Jeffra, she's not too bright. Jeremiah's got a huge target. I'm picking Jeremiah as the next to go. That's my pick, by the way.
Woohoo! Twins!
Yeah. But yeah, has anyone else's, despite your pick, think someone else is going to win?
If it's not a brain, it's LJ, in my opinion. Like,
I agree.
Those are the only 4 I can see winning that are viable at this point.
Those are my top 4, and I don't see it changing unless Tyler Perry fucks it all up for me.
Yeah, and unless Alexis comes back and starts like crying and throwing people under the bus, I don't know.
Oh, I hate people that cry at the end.
I felt bad for her because she seemed like a more aware and a more intelligent version of Kat, but. I don't know.
She wasn't. I don't know. Cat's a whole category of her own.
Yeah, that's true. She's her own cat. Okay, I was going to make a pun, but I stopped.
Alexis also went to my school, so I kind of have to, I have to root for her a little because of that.
Who went to your school?
Alexis, Northwestern.
You can't root for someone who's voted out. Come on.
Well, but we were just talking about her already.
He can, and he will.
Redemption Island was last season.
As far as people who are still in the game, I obviously, like, since I was forced to pick after Bryce left, and I picked Tony, and I have Tony to go next episode, I obviously think someone other than my pick is going to win. But everyone else is taken already.
Well, you can have, I think Jeffra is available.
Yeah, but all her crowns aren't that bright.
You can have Trish. No one wants Trish. Anyways, so I guess we're going to wrap it up. Does anyone else have anything that they're just dying to say? Go LJ? I don't know.
No, I had like one thought about like way back. I mean, this can be cut out if it's not interesting, that's fine. But when Wu wins the reward challenge for Solana, it's like he's like on one side of the fence and the other 4 are on the other side of the fence, and they're all hugging, but Wu is still like set apart from them. And so I just thought that was a funny like camera shot.
Well, that's something maybe Wu notices and figures out he's on the outs and flips. And if that's
I don't know.
Then you are an edgic genius, okay?
Okay, my thought about next week is that the merged tribe name better be stupid. Everyone on this season has been so dumb that I want to see something that's worse than no bag. Because it'll fit.
Merlonio.
No, that was
How about like Jatia, we miss you tribe?
Oh my god! I totally
Wait, but that's true. You can't name a merge tribe when it's true.
I totally support that. I wonder what the reaction was when they swapped tribes and like, yeah, this crazy bitch Jatia threw all of our rice in the fire. Like, what do they say to that?
Like, thanks for no rice, Jatia. Tribe.
I'm excited for when they get to the rites of passage or fallen comrades, assuming the brains get there. And you know what they say about Jatia. Oh, Jatia, want to thank you for being there and, you know, supporting us and screwing up the challenges and helping us get here and throwing out all our rice. And I don't know.
And voting out Garrett, because it could have been so much different. But we got to wrap it up. Thank you, everyone who is on the podcast tonight. And thank you for all the listeners. We will catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.